Hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Sophie and I do videos on here about infertility, weight loss sometimes, and just my life in general. I am finally sitting down today to do my IVF update. This is the very first video in our IVF journey series. It's basically our journey to baby. We are finally embarking on our IVF journey and actually going through with IVF, which is crazy because we started trying to conceive 3 years ago this month, and I just never thought we would get to the point where we would be doing IVF, going through IVF. What is happening? I want to firstly apologize for being so absent on this channel. I know that I haven't been posting frequently. My main focus on this channel is to share my IVF journey, and I only have so many updates. So this is the very first one, and we're gonna talk today about my very first IVF consult, my first appointment with the OBGYN and the medical director from the clinic, as well as a nurse who's there too to just discuss the little things and the questions that we had. Before we get into that, for those of you who have been watching me for a while or you're new or whatever, I've had a lot of life changes in the last month, and it kind of explains why I've been a little absent and frequent on here. I basically started a business as well as a part-time job on top of a full-time job that I already had. So it's been crazy. That's why I'm just finding time to film this morning before I head off to my part-time job. I've just been overwhelmed with how busy I've been, but financially we needed me to work more than just my full-time job to be able to afford IVF and life. And that's why I wanted to mention it, because that's one of the biggest things with IVF. People are like, how can you afford it? Right now, the only way that we can move forward with it and afford it is if I work 3 jobs. And my husband's contract doesn't allow him to work a second job, but if he could, he probably would. So it's been crazy. IVF is so important to us though that me busting my ass off right now is so worth it, and that's kind of where we're at. So let's get into it. So I had my initial consult already a month ago, so I'm a little late to the party, but I wanted to kind of go through that with you guys so that if you are heading into an IVF consult, or you're about to do IVF, or you've been through it before, maybe this can give you a little bit of insight or comfort that most people will go through this type of appointment. I'm very aware that most clinics have their own protocols, and that my appointment and my timeline will be vastly different from most people, but there are a lot of similarities probably as well. So first and foremost, the reason for the consult is basically to see what the next steps are after for example, if you do your initial consult at a clinic and you're we're going straight to IVF, great. That would probably be your IVF consult. But for us, we decided to do IUI first and then head into IVF. So we needed a consult before moving from IUI to IVF. Very different protocols, very different procedures. So we needed to meet with the doctor again. Before our meeting, he looked over our file and just kind of based on that, gave us rough numbers, said that we would have a 50% chance of success with IVF probably, and also that we were great candidates, and that he felt like we would probably have enough eggs to freeze so that we could have future children from this retrieval as well. Obviously, you never know what's going to happen until you actually head into the procedure, have the retrieval, and do the transfer and everything. Your body might not react how your doctor thinks it will, but overall, that's what our tests indicate, that everything should be fine, everything should work. And he's done 3 IUIs on me as well, so he kind of knows what my uterus looks like, how easy it is to inseminate that way. No issues with catheters. We did the HSG as well. At this point, he knows my body pretty well. One really annoying thing with my clinic is that they tend to get us to do blood work a lot. We did all of our extensive blood work last December, But because of timelines, we would be due to get that blood work done again this December, and we are nearing that month. They are so backed up at the clinic that we will probably only do IVF, like the actual retrieval, in the spring next year. So we knew that we would be due for blood work, but at the same time, like, a lot of the blood work doesn't need to be done again. And I know it's protocol. I understand they have ways of doing things, but holy moly, I had 10 vials of blood and it wasn't easy. I'm not someone who has an issue with blood work, but this was really, really tough. So this happened like right after my consult. So that's why I'm talking about it as well. So yeah, so based on everything, he has very high hopes for us. And then, like I said, he also mentioned that we would need to do more blood work. So we have done that since. All our blood work is complete and we're currently waiting for results. So the next video you guys will see will probably be our blood work results and next steps, because I myself don't really know what that is. Another big part of the consult is ironing out any questions that you have or concerns. For me, the biggest concern was talking about the retrieval. In the US and probably in other countries, standard protocol is to put people to sleep to do the retrieval. So you're completely out. You're not aware of what's happening. In Canada, the standard protocol is to not put you to sleep. You're actually just on hard drugs. Is that the right way to say that? You're like on really strong medication. That's a better way to say that. You're on very strong medication and you're aware that you are doing the retrieval. When they do the retrieval, they're basically using like a needle this long and they go through your uterine wall. They're going through your uterus, I think. Yeah, that's what he explained. And he said that with the medication, it makes it bearable for most people. It's not the best thing to say to me because I do have like an actual phobia of pain, huge fear of pain. It was triggered by a bad experience I had a few years ago. My family doctor is very much aware, but I guess I hadn't talked to my OBGYN about my fear of pain. So I don't know. He didn't know. So he just kind of like, when I said, will it hurt? He was just like, I mean, it makes it like the medication make it bearable. And I'm like, that is the worst thing you could have said to me. You should have just said that it's not that bad. When you see your doctor hesitate, you know that there's a chance of it being very painful. So that's the thing that I'm most nervous about. Another question that I had was if he was recommending fresh or frozen transfer for our first baby, and he plans on doing a fresh transfer as long as my body reacts the way that they want it to. Based on my IUIs, they shouldn't have a problem with like how many eggs I produce because they have a good understanding of how well I respond to medication like letrozole and stuff like that. I also asked him if I would have any intramuscular injections to do, and he said no, as long as I'm on a antagonist protocol. I think if I'm on a protagonist protocol, I will have an intramuscular injection. So it really depends on the blood work results that I'm waiting for. And I will definitely update you guys. But as of right now, he does not think that I will need intramuscular injections. I had no problem with the injections that I did for IUI, but there's a lot more of them to do when you're doing IVF, and intramuscular is just a whole other ballpark. So I really want to avoid those if I can. So I asked that, and he said he doesn't think that I'll have them, which is really good for me. I also asked like how many injections. They said they don't know yet because we didn't have the blood work yet, but it's twice a day at least, and a couple of them every time. My mom's gonna be doing the injections. She is a nurse, and I'm not comfortable doing them myself, and my husband cannot handle needles. He usually faints. So I don't really have help at home. So my mom is gonna do them for like 10 days straight. So thank God for her. The blood work will come back with one thing that I've never been tested for, which is AMH. I think it tests like your ovary, it's not supply, there's a word for it, like your ovary it's not stash. Like how many eggs you still have. Like there's a word for it. Anyway, so that's one thing that I've never been tested for, so I'm very curious to see. I'm also getting retested for my thyroid. If you guys are new here, I have hypothyroidism, and I have been feeling pretty tired recently, so I feel like my levels are whack again. So I'm excited to get the results for that. And then apart from that, we also talked about timeline. I mentioned quickly that my clinic is so backed up because of COVID. They've really never been able to catch up. They're still not accepting new clients or inactive clients, including clients that have embryos at the clinic. So it's not a good situation overall. So for timeline, we had our IVF consult, like I said, about a month ago. We did all of the blood work. I also did a pap test. I was due for a pap test. My family doctor did not call me back, so no news is good news in terms of my family doctor. So that means everything came back normal for that. And then I'm just waiting to get all the results from the blood work. And then from my understanding, we would be doing our mock next. The mock is basically just to see how easy it is to implant an embryo in your uterus. So they kind of like insert water just to see how easy it is with the catheter and everything. That's my understanding. They don't want to head into IVF if they have an issue like accessing everything. So they're just being very precautious. I think most clinics do a mock. I don't know. So we've been doing our mock. I think how it works is as soon as I get my blood work, then they'll tell me everything's fine. And then I would have to call back on day 1 of my next cycle. And then they would book me in for a mock. From what I understand from other people that are going to the clinic at the moment, they are not booking mocks they didn't book mocks for September at all. And I think they're batch booking them. So I think they were doing a batch in October, and then they've been skipping months. So they would book a batch in October and then just again in December. So depending on when my period starts, I will probably only be booked in December, which pushes me even back because they are unwilling. This is what I mean by like the clinic's like organization and like the way they do things I don't love. But basically they will not book me. They will not put me on the wait list for IVF until my mock is done. Not sure that's how it should go, but that is the situation. So if I do my mock, if I'm booked for my mock in December and I get to do it in January, for example, then I would only be put on the wait list for IVF in January, and they have a wait list. So their wait list, from what I understand, is about 3 to 4 months, which I mean still brings me to spring 2022, which is what they told me. But I'm just afraid that it's just gonna back up even more. So that was the consult. That's where we're at right now. And I will definitely update you guys when I have the blood work results and the next steps, because I don't know myself, but that's just a quick update for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next time.